Hello, and welcome the
Welcome.
Welcome
to the Tabletop Travel Guide. It is I, Tyler American, here to host the podcast.
Hello, welcome to Tabletop Finds, brought to you by the Tabletop Travel Guide. I'm Tyler, and in this week, I tried to outsource my combat to the players, and it went not great.
Or it went
very great for the players.
When you say outsource,
So my combat there was a mirror that if you caught the reflection in, it would suck you in and then turn you or like spit out an evil duplicate.
Oh yeah. Classic. Classic mirror.
Yeah. And so then my thought was like, perfect. We're gonna pull out the mirror. Gonna get one person in there. I got Andy's, druid, and then he was fourth in the initiative. And in the first turn, our rogue got off a crit followed by a master strike, which if you crit fail, the save, if you hit, the person just dies.
Oh.
So he just like one shot Andy's character. And then I couldn't get anybody else in the mirror. So, combat ended very quickly.
You crushed it.
Yeah.
Love it when that works.
Yep.
I'm Sam. I was a part of the conflict that Tyler described. My character did not want to murder Andy, so had I gotten my way, I don't know, maybe it would have gone differently.
Mm-hmm.
But
it was funny because they didn't acknowledge it, or they didn't acknowledge it well enough to understand what they needed to do.
Because only one person had gone, and it was not the super smart person in the party, aka me.
And so everyone's like, is this person evil? Like, I said it, and they're like, oh, this must be evil. Let's just kill him. And everyone's like, what if he wasn't evil? What if it was just like...
It was a cool dude.
Or it's like, what if that was actually Serval? Like
if it was Scott Pilgrim, like, oh yeah, we kind of worked out our differences.
Yeah.
Or you just don't know the mechanics, right? So like
even
if it was like a reflection, you don't know if you kill the reflection if you kill the other person.
Yeah. I did do the evil mustache, so they popped out
That's funny.
With a
Serval
mustache.
with an evil mustache.
Well, that's your problem. You telegraphed it.
I know. I went for the joke.
I'm Ryan. I didn't play last week, but I did have a long Zoom call with Chad, and we tried to do planning for his future campaigns.
Ooh.
So he had some machinations and some setting questions that I won't dive into in case any of us end up playing in it. But we definitely had a long conversation about why it's important to have an antagonist. And Tom was looking at me weird.
Did somebody say it wasn't?
Well, there's I'm not a literary person, so Sam, you might have to help me, but man versus nature, man versus man. I was like, make sure you don't if you're doing man versus nature, make sure it's very obvious that nature is an antagonist, not man, nature's a real dick right now, but
well, yeah,
but it's not obvious that nature's actively.
Because if you're doing a man versus nature narrative, then it's it's a survival story, which is something to read, but that's really character driven, whereas that's really hard to do as a tabletop RPG.
Yep. And I was like,
So.
Chad,
Rules.
a lot of our group is adults with time. Do you think we're all going to be super interested in tracking rations again?
No.
Oh, gosh, no.
So we had some good conversations. I think
Nice.
I think Starfinder 2E is going to be the system he wants to run it in.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So I think
Play test.
we're excited for it. Yes.
Is it going to actually be Starfinder?
Yes. The way he talked through it, I think we're going to more strongly implement Starfinder.
Cool.
Was the original idea to Lost in Space us and have
Ooh.
us all out there and then having to ration our supplies on the spaceship?
Who's to say?
Who is to say?
Who's to say?
Nice.
But no, that was not the initial plan.
Stay tuned for whenever that happens. I don't know. He's somewhere in the order.
Yeah.
Whenever Charles's is done. But cool. So today we are diving back into Staves, which I still get annoyed by saying it.
Staves is the correct word.
Yeah, but it feels incorrect to me. The Staves. So one of the things we talked about in our last Tabletop Finds about staves was personal staves, where you can create your own staff and set it to a trait and go with whatever. And I think I mentioned something one of my characters did, but we thought, it'd be fun. Let's build our own staves.
Mm-hmm.
And so we each picked not only a trait to build our staff around, we named it, and then we had a little history about it. So we figured every good staff deserves a good story. And so our stories will be good. No, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Mine is fine.
We're really hoping Sam's going to carry this episode.
We're hoping.
I'm very excited about what I came up with.
Yes. So in this case, we only brought one staff each, but we'll talk through the history, the characters that may have wielded these staves. And
Welt. No,
Welt.
That's
Welt.
not Welt.
That is, I know
Welt.
it's not. I
Welt
just said
these
it 'cause it's
staves.
funny.
Welt these staffs.
That is not correct grammar.
So do we want to have Sam go first or have Sam go last?
We got to have the anchor go last.
Yeah, I think we have to. if we're in
Anchor
the
of the
It's,
race.
it's the 3x400. We need to have
3x400, we need Sam anchoring us. So okay, Ryan, do you want to lead
I
us
can go
off
first.
then?
Sure.
Cool.
So
I'll be a good mediocre middle sandwich.
Yeah. The mediocre Oreo filling.
Yes.
Some people like the Oreo filling more, though.
I mean, I think most people like the Oreo filling more.
Is that true?
Then what?
The
cookie?
cookies?
Yeah.
I wouldn't just eat Oreo filling though. But I
Some
also
people do.
wouldn't just eat the Oreo outsides. I want the whole thing together.
Fair. So with the three of us combined, we will
I'm
make
just-
one Oreo that you would want to eat. Oh, it's been a day, guys. Okay.
Yeah. So, of course, I was texting about this idea, and then I immediately didn't read the instructions.
Oh yeah, we start with the staff that could not be.
Yeah. So it turns out in the Staves rules, it says you cannot use incapacitation as your trait to center your stave around. So, of course, I had picked incapacitation and just rolled with it.
Yeah.
It technically said that it was up to the GM's discretion.
Yeah. So the kind of thing around personal staves is that you want a trait that's specific enough to have a theme, but not too general, like attack or something. Like,
Yeah.
basically, you couldn't pick spells with traits that are so broad that you couldn't do like a tradition or something like a cult.
Yeah.
And incapacitation was one of those. But you know what? We're having fun.
I think I thematically linked it together at least.
Okay.
So let me defend my case, and then I have two jurors who can tell me if it's illegal or not illegal.
Okay. Prosecutor, state your case.
Aye.
Or defense, I guess.
Aye.
Defense, state your case.
So I have the trait of incapacitation.
Okay.
It is called the True Warden,
Ooh.
which I thought was a good name.
I
So
like that.
created by a Galton prison warden named Gorga. She's a hobgoblin named Gorga.
Gorga.
Hobgoblin sorcerer.
Nice.
She needed an instrument to help interrogate people in the most recent revolution. So she imbued some incapacitation traits
Ooh.
into a stave that helped
To a
her
staff.
to a staff.
Singular.
Singular.
You can't keep
gosh.
taking that.
Into a staff to kind of help draw out the truths of freedom and revolution from those she was talking to.
Oh no.
So I start with my cantrip of Figment. Fun fact, I broke the rules a second time. Please don't hold it against me.
Jeez.
There are no cantrips with the incapacitation trait, but Figment seemed like it sort of worked.
What level is Figment?
It's level 1.
Which
Oh.
what is
it's
that?
It's a cantrip.
What does that one do? I'm not familiar with it.
Figment, you create a simple illusory sound or vision. There's no way to incapacitate in cantrips. So I was
Yeah.
you're distracting somebody. You're
okay.
moving their focus to a different location. You're incapacitating their focus, their perception.
Sustained.
Sure.
Sustained. Okay, good. At first level, I have the spells Deja Vu, which is similar, but making a person second guess their own thoughts and decisions and incapacitating them, stupefying them.
Nice.
And then sleep, of course, putting them to sleep.
Of course.
Maybe, moving them between cells, moving them to an interrogation room. Second level, I have calm. Just, prison's a scary place. And I want to make sure that those who are going to be talked to have their nerves under control. And then charitable urge, making them want to give up some of that information about liberty and freedom and revolution and their brothers and sisters that they're portraying.
Okay.
And then in third level, we've been trying to keep with the theme. So we have impending doom.
Sure.
So like it's good. This stave is the staff.
The
Is
staff.
good cop, bad cop all in one, right? So you hit him with the calm, hit him with the deja vu and the sleep, like, hey, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. And then boom, hit him with the impending doom. Oh no. I've made a terrible mistake. If I don't talk to this person, I'm going to be in big trouble. And then phantom prison, just to double down on the fact that you're in prison and it's an illusory wall. So you could put them in a cell and then like put them in a smaller cell in the cell
jeez.
to really mess with them.
Nice.
Those are my spells. And my storyline behind this is, of course, the cycles of revolution in Galt are never ending, over and over again. So Gorga eventually lost her position to the final blade. And the next warden takes over. And suddenly there's this staff still here that's super duper helpful in interrogating prisoners. And then that warden loses their position to the final blade, but there's this wonderful staff here. And so over like successive iterations, the person warden keeps rotating out, but the true warden is the magical artifact at the center of the prison that always is there. It's the one constant through cycles of revolution.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, especially in Galt, which is so big on turnover, like the staff being the concrete anchor point.
Yes. And then most recently, right before the last cycle of revolution, it was stolen by a group of revolutionaries. But within a couple of weeks' time, it seemed to magically return itself back to the warden and back to the prison.
Ooh.
So somehow, by hook or crook, the staff always comes back, and it always comes back to the prison, and it is the focal point of that prison.
Ooh. I like that.
That's neat.
Until adventurers show up one day, murder everybody, and steal it.
Murder everybody, steal it, and then use it for their hopefully good devices.
Yeah. And it was called the True Warden.
The True Warden.
Oh man, you said the name at the beginning, and I'm like, "Ooh, I like it." Now you're like, "Ooh, I really like it."
So jury, do I get away with rule breaking?
I think that's a good one.
I'll allow it.
I wonder though, do all of those? I'm like, you could possibly get away with like. I wonder how many of those have the emotion trait. I guess sleep doesn't. Yeah.
Most of them don't. Figment's the one that doesn't make sense anyway. Enchantment, incapacitation, mental.
Yeah, mental.
Maybe mental.
Maybe mental.
Mental might have gotten you there too.
Yeah.
I didn't really look into it too much.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. I feel like from a flavor perspective, like I assume the broadness is just so you can't have like a staff of whatever you want, like
arcane,
right? Where things just are the spells that I want rather than spells that make sense.
Yeah, I feel like the theming of that one fits in. Like if you told a GM that, they'd be like, okay, yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
because it's like it's all on theme.
Yeah,
incapacitation as a trait is probably too broad, but the way you narrowed it, narrow the focus, I think it's solid.
Yes,
nice.
1 point for Ryan.
Okay, so my staff is called the Cutting Retort.
Ooh.
Okay.
The trait is auditory.
Okay.
And it was created by a man named Melius Antia, who, in my head, is basically a combination between, if you've read Stormlight Archive, the King's Wit, which is kind of the witty court jester who just like can make fun of people and put people in their place with his charisma. And if you've ever watched Key and Peele, the anger translator for Obama.
Okay.
So
like
let's go into what spells I have, and then we'll get back to the story. So the Cutting Retort is, like I said, auditory. All the spells in it are occult. And so I have Cantrip, Bullhorn. So it magnifies your voice. It lets you coerce and diplome at a much longer distance because your voice is much louder distance. Level 1, I have Command, which is always a good one.
Good.
In a court of people, sometimes you just need to tell people to sit down.
Sit down.
Yeah. And the other spell is Biting Words, where your taunts and jibes physically cause harm to your enemies. So I like your insults hurt so much. They're actually taken damage.
Physically painful insults.
Yes.
Good.
My second level, I have blistering invective, which follows along with that. Your words are so devastating they set people on fire.
Oh,
I love
I
that
don't know
one.
that I've ever seen that spell used.
That one is fun because your words are so caustic that people get fire damage
That's awesome.
from getting set on fire. And then I also took instant parade. So it conjures an illusory parade with participants and performers. Its use is for hiding. You can make yourself a crowd and hide among it. But I like
that
the
works.
idea of if you're walking with the person you are the wit of, they'd like a grand entrance. You just like conjure a big old grand entrance when your posse shows up.
I was hoping that your posse was like your background dancers. Like they're there to hype you. They're your hype team.
I mean, that would be great too. And then for level 3, I have Enthrall. So you fascinate the creatures around you.
Good.
Great for speaking engagements. And Distracting Chatter. So you surround a creature with auditory illusions, and they basically like get minuses to what they're trying to do because they keep getting distracted by their own like auditory illusions. And so I think it targets one creature, so I assume only they can hear it. So I just imagine if like, the person you're with is in a debate or something, and you're casting this spell on somebody who's like trying to debate back and are just like keep losing track of their thoughts and whatever.
Does that spell also have an audible component?
Or
verbal component?
Yeah, it's somatic and verbal.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Though it's legacy. I can't remember. Didn't they get rid of components in
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I think in the remaster they got rid of it. But yeah, so back to the story. So Melius was a Taldan human who worked for the noble house Basri, which this house in Taldor is known for producing a long line of diplomats and ambassadors. So they have one thing they're really good at. It's sending people to other places.
Send them to Galt.
Yep,
Send
and
them to
be
me.
diplomats. So I know that, noble houses are not quite kings. So my, thought of the king's wit is not exactly a 1-to-1, but they are all ambassadors. They need assistance. They need chiefs of
Advisors.
staff. Yes, they need advisors. There you go. That's the word. So the original creator of the staff, Melius, he was very charismatic, and he was the one who started the wit position for the house, or for the Basri ambassadors. He basically like talked his way into a position. He just kind of like made it up and was so good at it. Everyone's just like, oh, this is actually very helpful. So once they realized how effective he was at his job to, hype and keep their ambassador going, they created it as an official position among the more powerful ambassadors.
Yeah.
So while there are other people who serve in that position across the whole noble family, the Antia family always produces the best of the best. So if you have the advisors, Antia family is like cream of the crop advisor, partially due to the cutting retort. Because even beyond their charisma, they make charismatic people, but they have these other abilities that help just make it even better.
Yeah.
So, like I said, these are combined to can build up as ambassadors while cutting down the ambassador's enemies.
Do you envision there being one of them, or do you envision this like being a thing like you've come of age and now you get your staff?
My thought is there is one of the staves, so one staff of the cutting retort, and when the like current head of the Antia family retires, they pass it on to the most charismatic next level. And then so that there are other Antia family members who are working it, but only the head of the family has the cutting retort at any given time. So it gets passed down to the next most charismatic person in line. The current owner is the great granddaughter of Melius, Maria Antia, who is said to be basically the like second coming of Melius with her charismatic charm and her ability to just kick butt as an advisor.
I like to imagine that this particular staff looks like a baton, like what you'd have at like the front of like a marching band or something.
Yes.
Yeah, my thought was like a baton or like a cane or like something that's like not Gandalf staffian.
Yeah.
Because I know we talked a staff can take a lot of different forms. But yeah, like something that, you know, a person would have and could point
Yeah.
to, and, you know, maybe conductor's wand could be cool.
That's why I was thinking like a baton.
Mhm.
Like it's a little bit bigger than a conductor's baton. Like I was
what's that
thinking
thing
of
called? Yeah.
like a almost like one of the like circus or
Mhm.
whatever your head of your marching band has, because it's a little bit bigger so you can see it from farther.
Like the
rather
drum
than-
major carries.
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah, whatever that thing is called.
Yeah. So that's mine. Cutting retort.
I love this.
Yeah.
Nice. I feel like you guys hype me up a lot, and now I'm like, oh,
Let's go. Let's go, Sam.
I hope this is okay. All right, so my staff that I have brought is called the Divining Rod.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
It's a staff of detection. So detection is my trait. I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive on what inspired this.
Let's go.
Because
I like it.
that's the part that I find really exciting about it. Okay. Do you know what divining is when we talk about it like in real life?
It's like the casting lots, dowsing rods, the kind of like
Yeah.
tarot
Mhm.
cards.
I was going to say tarot cards.
Yeah. That kind of just
Palm readings, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's that like pseudo out there stuff. So there's a particular tool called either a divining rod or a dowsing rod. And so dowsing is real life divination ish.
quote unquote.
Right. Yeah. Air quotes out here. That people have used to find water, buried metals, gemstones.
Yes. Okay.
So when I was in high school, we did a play called The Diviners, and part of the plot line for it was like finding water with like a divining rod.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I started with this. And so I like the idea of that. So the way that looks like in real life, like a dowsing stick looks, it's like a Y shaped, and you hold the Ys in each hand, and then there's the forward facing, and then you're like, it's leading you to whatever.
Okay.
So that is what
what
this
the
rod
staff
looks
looks
like.
like.
It's a two-hander.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it wouldn't have to be, but like I enjoy that for the story
the
part of
vibe,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this staff was originally created by a cleric of a nomadic people. I imagine like maybe like a Kelid tribe. I didn't get super into like exactly what their culture was,
Yeah.
but they are a nomadic group, and the staff gets passed down, not necessarily from like the leader of the tribe to leader of the tribe, but to who has the affinity for the staff. So, because the leader could be a non-magical person and they're
Yeah.
not going to be able to make it work. But then the role that you gain by having the divining rod is to find what the tribe needs in that given time. So the spells for it, so the cantrip, I gave it because, you know, this one's just useful. But detect magic would be the cantrip.
Super useful.
Always helpful whenever you're rolling around in the woods,
Detection.
right? The level 1s are know location and detect poison. So obviously detect poison is being able to detect poison.
Mhm.
No location. This one's a rare one, but I threw it in there anyway because I thought it made sense. This spell lets you create an invisible anchor at a location within a mile. And as long as you can identify the location by like what it looks like, you always know where that location is.
You have to preset it though.
Yes.
Okay.
So like my thought is like, okay, if we're this nomadic people and we're going out to explore, I always know how to get home.
Mhm.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I can go out and search for what I need to, but I can always get back to base camp. And then detect poison as a utility. If I'm going out and I'm like searching for things, I need things to help my people survive. And obviously we don't want to murder anybody with poison. The level 2, we have status and guiding star. So status lets you target one living creature and you are just aware of their present state until your next like daily preparation. So you know like the target's direction, distance, any conditions affecting it. So I thought this was also good if we're talking about like scouting or, okay, so one person's going ahead or, how do I keep track
Yeah.
of my people? And then Guiding Star was one I did not know, but I thought it sounded really cool when I read it. You call on the constellations of the night sky to guide a creature to the location where you cast the spell. So I
Ooh.
liked this for like thinking about people who get lost.
Yeah,
like,
it's like come home.
yeah. It's like your little beacon. Like, okay, here's home, and Timmy went out in the woods today and hasn't come back, so we're gonna rein him in.
Mufasa appearing in the
Yes.
stars. Yeah.
Very
Get
much.
your ass back home.
It's past dinner time.
Yes.
Dad in the clouds. Is that you? Come back. Your mother is very angry.
On second thought, don't come back tonight. Wait till the morning.
Man, these stars are really chatty today. All right, and then the third level spells, we have Show the Way and Locate. Locate is you learn the direction of a target object, so you can pick something specific or the nearest object of that type. So the example that the archive gives is like my mother's sword, or just the nearest sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that utility spell, like what do I need right now?
Yeah.
That's going to help me. And then Show the Way gives you and allies knowledge of the path ahead, so you can intuitively know which way to go that's going to be best suited.
I love this.
Yeah, so again, like the whole staff is created to be able to guide this people and to keep them safe. So no one knows the name of the original creator of it. They just know it was some ancient person in the line of this tribe. But the rod, the divining rod, aka Staff of Detection, has stayed within this tribe for, like, I don't know, maybe a long time, like several,
approximately a long
several
time.
generations of people.
Yeah.
So
I think that would be perfect in like Realm of the Mammoth Lords.
Yes.
Like
Absolutely.
the nomadic tribes of the Mammoth Lords, like you have an entire tribe kind of built around this.
Yeah, I was thinking like that area made sense. I also thought that like Shawanti, a tribe, made sense, but also you could put it in like a Mwangi tribe, and that makes sense.
Put in Belkson. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's lots of nomadic peoples that we could give this
Taldor.
to, and
You're just like in the middle of Absalom, like find me
although
street food. There it is.
it would be funny if the was it the poop kobolds, the sewer kobolds, or the sewer goblins?
Yeah.
If they had that tribe of goblins.
That'd be funny.
That would be funny. So I imagined the current owner of this is a ranger with some sort of divine lineage that gives the ability to use it. I did keep it in like the divine school, I think, with all of the so it's so I guess we could, it was a cleric of Yi, whatever, that made it. I feel like Desna might make sense for like the kind of wandery
That's
stuff,
very
but it
brand.
doesn't have to be that one. But the current owner is a ranger and a scout for this tribe now, and like leads them where they need to go.
I mean,
So
it wasn't Zon Cathan who made it.
doesn't sound like his vibe, actually.
Find
Locate torture chamber.
Yes.
Ooh.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I think Ryan suggested we do this when we were just talking about like, what topic should we do? And it's just like, it's cool to have specific family artifacts for like characters and NPCs.
Yes.
Like I don't think we don't do that as much where it's like, this is a family heirloom of, passed down generation to generation. So I feel like D&D wasn't really able to do that for a while, because you'd be like, this is my family sword. Oh, I have a +2 sword now. Gonna go grab that.
Yeah, it always felt really bad. Like for generations, I have held this within my piece of candy and like
Ooh, new
shoved it over
shiny.
your shoulder.
But like with Pathfinder, it lets you can, modularize runes and stuff.
Yeah.
So like you can have a sword that kind of builds through it. And like, these staves, the cool thing about personal staves is you can upgrade them. So, you can take out spells that maybe don't work as well as you get higher level. If you have a first level damage spell, that's going to get out of its usefulness, but you can pay to upgrade to add more spells and replace spells. So like this is a staff that could take you through, I think 3rd level to 20th.
Yeah. Remind me if you cannot, you have to have the spell casting ability to use it, right?
Technically,
Like-
unless you have trick magic item.
Yeah. like level 1 sorcerer can't pick up a level 20 staff and start casting high level fireball. I don't think that works.
You can't, because when you charge a staff, you charge it with the
With
amount
your
of
own
spells
yeah,
that
yep.
you have.
Yep.
So yeah, you couldn't. You can, if you have a, you know, if you can cast 3rd level spells, you charge it with 3 charges. So yeah, that it's kind of a built-in. You can't cast above your can't punch above your weight.
I mean, that could be a central MacGuffin for a whole campaign too. Like the staff grows with the adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool. I think, didn't you do that for Ian's sword, his family sword?
Yes, but it wasn't. Those were very made up personal mechanics. That was like, I almost had like a Mass Effect morality tree of like, if you kill a bunch of dudes, you get this power. If
That's
you
fair.
save a bunch of dudes, you get that power.
Still try. No, but yeah, personal staffs are pretty cool.
So I
Build
feel
them.
like you could almost make like a YA novel with your staff. Like the chosen, like
right.
I've been chosen by my tribe to be the dowser.
to lead them out into somewhere.
Yeah, like, I almost like Moana vibes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get like far enough into the story to decide like what are they out there looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that would have probably, if I was fleshing this out into something that would be like in a campaign or in an actual setting, I think I would give them a goal. So
Mhm.
like this particular tribe is looking for whatever out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
You know, whether that's rare gemstones that are important to us for rituals or Sickatite, like I don't know, whatever we're out here looking for.
Sickatite.
They're like our ancestral, like, because then the one Mammoth Lord's tribe like kind of lost their way, right? Like,
Yeah.
you could be looking for your ancestral
Mhm.
homelands.
Mhm.
Man.
Yeah, I'd narrow it in
Yeah.
if I was gonna build it out a little farther.
Man, I like it.
It's good.
Sam,
This is good.
Sam was a good anchor leg.
Yeah, I agree. It was a
I
good
was
choice.
like, you guys built that up a lot, and I'm like, I thought this idea was fun, but I don't know that it was that good.
This is where we need like someone who's good at art to do like the posting of the magic
Ooh.
item.
Ah, that would be cool.
I'm not good at art.
Mm-mm.
I can do clip art.
We all do stick figures. We do stick figure art. That's a staff. Just looks like an arm.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
I can do some little sketches, but they're all staves. They're all gonna look like sticks.
Yeah,
But
we
your
have,
stick's gonna have 3 legs on the stick.
That's true. I could probably sketch that out. That wouldn't be too hard.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't talk about it, but I assume mine looks like a police baton. Like it's just a stick.
I would, yeah.
yes.
I like the idea that it looks like a police baton, though. That makes
I
sense.
do. Yeah.
Makes it a little bit different than everybody else's.
Nice. Man, I just want to build a character with more staves. I don't know. Staves.
Staves.
Staves. Cool. Well, thanks, guys. I'm glad we only did 1 staff each. This would have been a long episode otherwise.
Yeah.
Well, when each staff has 7
Yeah,
spells,
it's fine.
a lot of things.
Cool. Well, thanks to all our listeners. You might have noticed that this is, again, kind of a every other week episode. We didn't release an episode last week. I think if you've been kind of catching here and there, life is kind of coming at us fast. Sam and I are prepping for a baby. So, yeah, I think, we took June off to kind of try to get a backlog and try to keep that pace of every week. But I think we just kind of realized, this might not be sustainable. So we are going forward, going to go back to our every other week episodes because that's pretty sustainable for us. It's less stressful if we're busy a weekend. We're not like, oh no, we got to catch something up. So,
And if there's a week where we're all really bored or something, then there might just be a fun bonus
Hash 'em out.
episode in there.
yeah. So you'll occasionally find, we'll probably stick to the mainline episodes with the occasional good finds, and maybe we'll get back and throw a Iron Valley.
Oh yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah, River Kingdoms thing again. So expect a episode every other week, and then if other episodes come up, they'll be there.
We'll still consider some experimental stuff too.
Yeah. We'll still try new things. We'll still, I think we're going to try to still do stuff, obviously, on the Patreon. We'll release our cutting room floor stuff, things we talk about before and after episodes when we record. A couple other, we're playing around with stories from our campaigns
Mm-hmm.
in the past, so things we've experienced as players. So reminder, you can support us on Patreon, Tabletop Travel Guide Podcast, link in our show notes or on our website, tabletoptravelguide.com. Remember, you can reach out to us on Instagram, Tabletop Travel Guide, or by email, tabletoptravelguidepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any feedback, any thoughts, any suggestions, hit us up.
We sell dowsing rods now,
We sell dowsing rods.
so make sure you hit us up on the web store. We buy your dowsing
14
rods.
easy payments of $99.99.
That's exactly right.
They'll help you find whatever you need in your
100%
backyard.
guaranteed. Yeah. To find anything you have possibly lost, no matter what.
Don't sue us.
Don't sue us. Please don't sue us. Cool. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks again, everybody, and safe travels.